सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।
A wonderful evening, good evening to Kannada. Now we shall discuss something about the types of Avadhanams other than the Sāhitya Avadhanam. Before that, one word about the research work which has gone in the area of Avadhanam, in the area of art and science of Avadhanam. It is needless to say that 99% of it is gone in Telugu. And apart from my work, my lone work in Kannada, I don't think no work has been done in English as well, let alone in other Indian languages. In Tamil, a few pamphlet like small monographs have appeared, and it has been restricted to the level of introducing the Avadhani and also his components. But for that, no historical search and research has been done. In Telugu, perhaps since a century, people have been writing about Avadhanam, and even in the newspapers also there used to be something like a review, and even in the Akashvani, All India Radio, we had every week samasyas being given, dattapadis being given, and then they're solved, and these best solutions used to be recited. And even in the TV medium also this went on, and it's still going on here and there. And then some small manuals, some compodiums have been written, Avadhana Darpano by Nandagiri Sheshgirra, perhaps one of the earliest in that kind. Perhaps it is Dr. C.V. Subbanna Śatāvadhānī who wrote his doctoral thesis on the art and science of Avadhana Vidya. His doctorate, he got his doctorate from Mysore University, incidentally from Karnataka, and that has been later published by the Telugu University, Andhra Pradesh, and it's a very good, dependable work. And then we have one more work by Kambampati Krishnamurthy. There it is, the title is Andhramu Avadhana Prakriya. And then one very good Avadhani, one very good Śatāvadhānī, unfortunately is no more. And even C.V. Subbanna also, we lost him last year. But an young man, very prospective Avadhani and very interesting person in this area was Dr. Allabandi Kavita Prasad, and he was a bureaucrat also. He wrote one doctoral thesis on the Avadhanamu Arambha Vikasagu, another work. And then we have a very large encyclopedic work more about the details of Avadhanis, that is by Ekambar Rao, Rapaka Ekambar Rao. He wrote a very big volume crossing 1000 pages, and there we see from the early days how various Avadhanis performed, and a few of the padyams were also given, verses have been given, and there we can find most of the Avadhanis. A brief introduction to them is also given, and then the art is being introduced in the beginning. But here it is not a thorough scientific research, and it is more a compilation, because that person, very nice person, very well-meaning person, he was so kind enough to contact me, get my details also, he inserted that too in, and then he has written. But unlike C.V. Subbanna and Allabandi Kavita Prasad, who were first-rate Avadhanis, and their experience came into the limelight, and that is how it has gone. And many Avadhanis have published their Avadhanam verses, Avadhanam poems. It started with the Tirupati Venkata Kavulu, Śatāvadhāna Sāramu, and then Rajshekara Venkatesha Kavulu, they gave Avadhana Sāramu, and then we have Avadhana Yatra of Madhvashri Kashi Krishnacharya, and then we have works like Avadhana Bharati, which has been edited by Dr. Mahati Shankar, Jandhyala Mahati Shankar, and it is a compilation of available verses of great Avadhani Velur Shivaram Shastri, prime disciple of Tirupati Venkata Kavulu. And then we have many other recent Avadhanis who have come out with that. C.V. Subbanna has brought out a very big volume. Earlier it was in 3 parts, Śatāvadhāna Prabandhamu, and Śatāvadhāna Sanchika Kadimella Varaprasad, and then Sahasra Shirsha by Nagapati Sharma, Madagul Nagapati Sharma, and then we have Avadhana Bharati by Garikapati Narasimha Rao, and then Dhara Dharanam, and then Vishatavadhanam, Avadhana Bhagyamu, Avadhana Vijayamu, and then Aṣṭāvadhānams. These are all from Garikapati Narasimha Rao. And nowadays they are bringing out videos and other forums. Like that we have many compact discs and others. But the critical comparative study is not fully developed because many people feel hesitant to make a critical estimation. So it is still a virgin area in that regard. We have a lot more people to come in and then work for this art. In English, of course, me and Shashi, we have written a complete book on, for first time it is on the science and art of Avadhana math practice in Sanskrit. And one person by name Srimati Bulusu Aparna, she has been doing her doctoral thesis on the science and art of Avadhanam, and her thesis will be published in Sanskrit. She has registered from Tirupati Kendriya Rashtriya Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Central University there. So these are some of the works which I know, and there are still more bigger list, but I don't want to bombard with much of the detail. But what I meant to say is, this way of codifying has not started with me. Since long it has been going on. Mine is one point, but I had the advantage of comparing it with Sanskrit, Telugu, Jain practitioners, Tamil and others. And I have to say with sadness that in spite of me saying repeatedly and showing historically with all evidences, knowingly many Andhra people and Andhra Avadhani have not cared to look into the actual history of Avadhana, from where it started, because it may seem very audacious if I say, but I have to make it a point because C.V. Subbanna, a wonderful scholar and a very beautiful Avadhani, and his work is also very important. He says, it is nanyato drishtamu. He uses the very same word. Apart from Andhra, there is nowhere this art is being seen, and if at all it is seen, it is Telugu Vari Diksha. It is the alms. They are the alms that have been given from Telugu to Sanskrit. It's a very, very audacious statement. I cannot agree with it, and I have objected it and critically challenged that in my works. But what I mean is, it is Kupa Manduka Vritti, Kupa Kachapa Vritti. That's what I have to say. Frog in the well. We have to look into other languages, other possibilities where the things have been done. Whether it has been pursued in a larger scale or not, it's immaterial. From where it started, we have to look into it. This is critical research methodology. Unfortunately, not many people have cared to look into these things. And I hope that people here would take interest in that way, in that direction, because it's easy to become proud and easy to boast our achievements. Nobody will challenge that if they are well rooted in reality. If it is not so, what to do? We all know that the very Champu Kavya system, it is much more older in Kannada than in Telugu. For that matter, Nannaya's structure is nowhere different from what Pampa and even before him Ponna practiced. And even 200 years before that, we see in Kaviraj Panka so many such things. Then that being the case, whether it is practiced in a larger extent, in a very popular manner, in a very flourishing way, it is a different thing altogether. That's how everyone, irrespective of the language, should realize that Sanskrit is the source, is the source of this art. For that matter, anything Indian, anything worthwhile in Indian tradition, it certainly is reflected in one or the other way in Sanskrit and its tradition. Sanskrit tradition was not at all blind to any art, any science, and any facet of knowledge or entertainment. And that's why, being proud about our languages, if we ignore the fact that Sanskrit has been the backbone of our culture, will be doing a lot of disservice not only to our tradition but also to truth. Well, with this let us go to the various types of Avadhanams. And people should not mistake me that I may be having some reservations for Telugu, but my bias towards Telugu is always positive. హృద్యమైన మధుర పద్య విద్యాధాటి పెంచి పెద్ద చేసి యుంచినట్టి మీకు నతుల నిత్తు సాకల్య సకులార ఆంధ్రులార రసిక చంద్రులార. This is the verse which I recited in one of my Avadhanams. And so, because of my Telugu knowledge, I could perform better and I could become an Avadhani. That I know. And my love for Telugu is not at all second to my love for any other language when compared to Sanskrit or Kannada or any other language. Well, but truth is something, our preferences are some other thing. And we have to be rooted in truth. Satyena vartmana gaccha, satyam jayati nandrutam. Apart from Sāhitya Avadhanam, we have several other forms of Avadhanams. But Sāhitya Avadhanam naturally is considered as best among the Avadhanams, and it has been given a greater exposure also. The reasons are quite simple and obvious. One is, it has a healthy blend of creativity, retention, and entertainment, and that can be felt. So, Purana is the dimension of creation, Dharana is the dimension of retention, and Sabharanjana is the element of entertainment. All these are very important. You just take a film or dance or any other art form, there also we do see such things. Creativity is one thing, and engaging way of appeal, and also total wholesome entertainment. These are some of the features. While in other forms of Avadhanams, if they are pronounced in Purana, they may be lacking with Dharana. For example, Natyavadhanam, as conceived and developed by Dr. Dhara Ramanath Shastri of Andhra Pradesh, is completely Purana based and there is no Dharana. Sabharanjana is very good. And if you see Netravadhanam or Trinavadhanam or Bhujavadhanam, there is no Dharana, only Purana is there. And also Sabharanjana is not much pronounced, because at the end you will be knowing what is what, and the ongoing process cannot be comprehended easily, and it cannot be explained also. If we explain it, the beauty and charm and the suspense in Avadhanam will be lost. And also something like Sangeeta Avadhanam. In Sangeeta Avadhanam, as performed now, so it is now, it shouldn't be called Sangeeta Avadhanam. It is all pre-planned and prepared. In that way, other types of Avadhanams lack here and there. And one type of Avadhanam called Sahasravadhanam, developed by Jandhyala Subramanya Shastri long ago, it has a type of structure where only memory counts and no Purana. In that way, only Dharana is there, no Purana. This way, other forms of Avadhanams, they are handicapped here and there. And in any art form, to declare that a system is an art, we need a lot of creativity. Memory can support creativity, but by itself it is not creativity. Quiz is very entertaining, but we can call it a sport and not an art. In art, imaginative dimension takes the foreground. Because of all these reasons, naturally Sāhitya Avadhanam, and it is aided by so many other arts also. Because we all know Sāhitya, literature, takes the help of so many other art forms and enriches itself. These things make it best among the art forms, and here no partiality for this form of Avadhanam is making me to speak in this way. Now, coming to Veda Avadhanam, it has been already explained, and I need not go through that. Then we have set of Avadhanams, a set of Avadhanams like Trinavadhanam, Bhujavadhanam, Hastachalanavadhanam, Netravadhanam, Jautikavadhanam, and even Ghantavadhanam. Ghantavadhanam is performed in two ways. One form comes to this group. In all this, Trinavadhanam means we'll be using grass, movement of grass. And Bhujavadhanam is stick, and Hasta Chalanavadhanam, movement of hands, and Netravadhanam, movements of eyebrows, eyelashes, and eyeballs. Then we have Jyotikavadhanam. Jyotika is clapping of the finger. That is how we are going to communicate. Snapping. And then the Ghantavadhanam is by ringing the bell in different ways. Number, intensity, frequency, and also we'll be using a board-like thing called Jayghanta or Jagata, and at different places it will be hit. Center, peripheral way, right, left, top, bottom, something like that. So making all these things, they can all be discussed at one stroke. In all these things, two people are involved. Both are Avadhanis. They are partners. One will be given a line or a short verse or few sentences, and then he will be or she will be communicating that to the other person, not verbally. He or she, that Avadhani, will be moving the eyes and communicating the alphabets and sounds. And then he will write the partner of him, he will be writing it on a piece of paper, and at the end he will be reading it out. In Trinavadhanam, a grass, straw of grass will be moved upwards, downwards, and it will be folded, opened, something like that. Similarly, Bhujavadhanam, a stick will be moved, and Hastachalanavadhanam, hands will be moved in different ways. You all know in Vedic recitations, we have the movement of hands. For example, in Samaveda, we start from this and then moving like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that, we will be moving. In that way, it will move and show. And then we will be having different types of movements also in representing the swaras of Samveda. And also this way of movements in Shukla Yajurveda to show the Udatta, Anudatta, and Swarita. This is a crude example. There are many such complicated movements in Hasta Chalanavadhanam. If a person knows dance, they can very easily connect to it. In dance, we have complete gesture language. Those who come from Kerala and who have connections with an art like Kathakali, you'll be knowing even taste, odor, touch, and even all the cases, vibhaktis, they're all suggested through hand gestures. So complicated is that, essentially based on Hasta Lakshana Deepika. The hand gestures will come to help. Hasta Chalanavadhanam. And then Jyotikavadhanam, it is earlier mentioned, by creating the sound, snapping, you'll be doing it. And then in all these cases, partners will be communicating, and first one will be communicating through the said medium, and the other one will be writing it, so that what the partner got, the question, will be read by him, the other person, and it will be really wonderful. But it will last very easily, it will last quickly, it will be complete. How many questions? Any number of questions, the same methodology, no creativity. It is skill and not creativity. Many times people are unable to distinguish between skill and creativity. Skill certainly aids creativity. For example, remembering all the words in Amarkosha in any dictionary is a great skill. But employing them creatively in a poem, it is creativity. So skills, they come to help. And it is completely skill. And such skill can be exhibited within a short span of time, and it will be over. In dance, I told hand gestures and art. This is Hamsasya Hasta. Hamsa can be shown. If you move it like that, it will be Hamsa. And then the same thing, if it is, this is Mayura Hasta. This is just Mayura. If you want to add, this is how you have all the feathers opening and then moving like that. And if you move like this, it will be 1 year or 100, something like that. There are various gestures. This is serpent, Sarpa Shirsha. Something, every from Natya Shastra or from Abhinay Darpana or from Sri Hasta Muktavali and Hasta Lakshana Deepika, you can very easily connect these gestures. Now we have another type of Avadhanam, that is Chaturanga Avadhanam. Chaturanga Avadhanam is very much popular and well known. A person who is adept in chess, a chess master will be simultaneously playing with many people. He will be facing many chess boards. This we have heard. Many people have been doing it. And there are many more difficult exercises also. It's blindfold. Eyes are closed. And people will be saying about the positions. And accordingly he will move. It needs lot of dharana and greater degree of skills. That is purana. Techniques of facing it. It is very much needed. It will be thoroughly entertaining. But only to people who know that. It cannot be explained. If we explain, it will not be sport. And this is the limitation, but it will be highly entertaining to people who know chess. And nowadays, because of the various technological marvel, any such feat can be very beautifully shown, effectively shown, and that is Chaturanga Avadhanam. And then Ganita Avadhanam. Ganita Avadhanam, it is a skill and prowess of mathematical calculation, arithmetic or algebra or even trigonometric calculations, all can be done. Recently, you would have heard about a film on Shakuntala Devi. Shakuntala Devi was human computer, had good fortune of actually witnessing a program, live program when I was a college student. She had come to our college and gave an unforgettable show. She was a really mathematician. She herself used to call it. It's a big treat. And again, the people who know at least a bit of mathematics, they can, but they cannot verify. So fast and so quickly it will be. Even our calculators used to fail then because we take a lot of time in pressing the buttons and calculate. By that time, her calculations would have been complete. That is one. Here, dharana is also there because she has to remember. I still remember a big board, completely it was written with many digits number. Once she saw from top to bottom, wiped out, another big number of so many digits were written. She was asked to multiply them. She gave immediately. Additions of very big numbers, just she used to move the finger. By the end, she would have told. Multiplication, subtraction, addition, cube root, square root, many such things. This is Ganita Avadhanam, but not many people are capable. It is a really inborn gift. You know what yesterday some people mentioned about Ishvaranugraha. In such cases, we have to say, because she herself admits that I don't know how I do it. If I had known how I do it, I would have become a mathematician. But as I don't know the mechanism, I have become a mathematician. I am entertaining you. That's what she humbly submitted. There are quite a few Netravadhanis. I have seen Kottapalli Ghanashyamala Prasad Rao Garu. He performed Netravadhana. And another great Sahasravadhani, Kadimella Varaprasad Rao, he has performed Netravadhana. And one Mimamsaka, Chiravuri Sriram Sharma too, he was a Netravadhani. Pisupat Chidambara Shastri, a very great legendary Avadhani, was also a Netravadhani. And two brothers, Kopparpu Sodaru, they were also Netravadhani. And one short story writer and a very well-known author in Telugu history is Shripad Subramanya Shastri or Sharma. He was also a Netravadhani. Like that, there are many Netravadhanis. Then we have one more thing in Ghanta Avadhana. Earlier I mentioned about Shatakalasha Avadhanam, more or less the same thing. Recording the sounds mentally, comparing them, numbering them by different sounds, different numbers. That's how it will go on. Completely based on dharana. Extraordinary dharana is needed. Now coming to Natya Avadhana, highly entertaining. I had seen it. Dhara Ramanath Shastri, Natya Avadhana Srashta, creator of Natya Avadhana. Natya means here not dance, it is theatre. As per the tenets of Natya Shastra of Bharata, Natya means total theatre. Natasya idam Natyam, connected with an actor. he used to come to the stage with the costumes, functional costumes, then and there, and used to have some verbal conversation he used to create. For example, the questionnaires used to put some questions. How was the plight of Rama when Hanuman came back from Sita and gave the Chudamani of Sita? He would immediately come with the attire of Rama, simple and working attire, something like a Panchakacha and Uttariya and a simple jata wig, and then he used to have some bow or some such thing in the hand and a tilakam on the forehead, and used to beautifully render spontaneous dialogues. And his Sattvika Abhinaya, facial expression was also appealing. And so, and his Samaya Spurti, spontaneity was extraordinary. I remember on that day when he was performing in Bangalore, one person asked him how Hanuman would have addressed and inspired the Vanaras when Angada too became dull. Then he came with a tail. He just tied a tail around his waist and then bulged his face and then started speaking. Aho Vanarottamullara. Looking at the audience, he say, "Oh monkeys, please listen to me, lend your ear." Everyone was burst into laughter. This way of Prasanga Avadhanam, it is very important, and he popularized it, and he got many laurels also. It was very, very well welcomed. But Natya Avadhanam, in the strict sense, needs many more features. I have devised it, but none is ready to perform. I have given a detail of that. Natya Avadhanam must involve all four modes of Abhinaya or communication: Angika, bodily communication; Vachika, verbal communication; Aharya, costume, makeup, and stage props, such accessories; and then Sattvika, emotional, facial expression, with ample scope for Nritta, means non-referential dance, pure dance. And also, control over rhythm is very, very important. And Natya, enactment. These are all the features which are needed. Chaturvida Abhinaya, Nritta, Nritya, and Natya. Pure dance, pure acting, and the combination of both, that is Nritya. When all these 7 elements are complete, then only we can call that as Natya Avadhanam. And that should be spontaneous based on the challenges which are given then and there. Then we have Sangeeta Avadhanam, connected with music. First reference to Sangeeta Avadhanam is given in Nartan Nirnaya of Pandarik Vittala. Pandarik Vittala was called Akbari Kalidasa. Of course, he existed in the court during the time of Akbar, and he hailed from a village called Satanur near Bangalore. Now it has been named after himself, Pandarika Pura. And Pandarika Vittala is credited to have written several works: Ragamala, Sadraga Chandrodaya, Nartan Nirnaya, and others. And in Nartan Nirnaya we find Sangeeta Avadhanam. But that is more connected with the Talik management, and that dimension has been perpetuated. One scholar by name Veena Shamanna of Mysore was a performer in the court of Krishnadevaraja Vodaya III. It is immediately after Tipu Sultan he succeeded. He occupied the throne, and in his times was Veena Shamanna. And in Andhra Pradesh, Sangeeta Avadhanam perhaps started with a very great Avadhani and a very great scholar, self-styled scholar, self-trained scholar, and a renowned figure in Harikatha, Katha Kalakshepa, Katha Kirtana, storytelling in the traditional way, Ajjada Adibhatla Narayana Dasu. They have a beautiful biography on him where his achievements are enlisted. I had earlier mentioned about his capabilities and prowess in various languages. He learned music, dance, everything on his own. And he used to perform, I had mentioned that also, using 2 palms, 2 different talas, and nodding the head, one more tala, and moving the toes 2 more talas. Like that, totally 5 talas were set to same Pallavi and was singing extempore Pallavi, not pre-planned and practiced, rehearsed. Unfortunately, rather I should say fortunately, this art of Avadhana Pallavi is still in existence. In Karnataka, there are several people, but none are taking spontaneous challenges. They practice because it is a very difficult skill. I've seen having on one palm a very difficult tala like Simhanandana, the longest among the 108 talas, and on the other palm using several talas which are quite difficult, which are Deshadi talas and even the Saptasudadi talas, and sometimes even the Aṣṭottara talas, one or few among them, totally batching both the talas and then singing. Such people are there. Earlier in Karnataka, in Bangalore itself, Pallavi Ramalingayya, Pallavi Chandrappa, Chandra Singh, such scholars were there. And of Professor T.S. Satyavati, Srimati Padma Gurudat, and from Mysore, a very well-known musicologist son, illustrious son, by name Dr. R.S. Nandakumar, and his niece, Srimati Sriranjani, and her sister, Srimati Shrutiranjani, they're all adept in presenting practiced Avadhan Pallavis. Means 2 different talas are managed. And then based on the research and the innovations of Ajada Adipatla Narayan Dasu, one scholar from Bangalore by name Dr. One person, Chintal, who hails from Chintalpalli tradition, I'm forgetting the name. He has practiced and trained many students in managing 5 different talas. Dr. Srikantam Nagendra Shastri, a scholar in Kannada and a professor of Kannada, and his research is again on music in the literature of Kannada. The Chintalpalli tradition is from his mother's side, and Srikantam Nagendra Shastri has trained several students of him in this Avadhana Pallavi by using 5 talas. And for him, the guide was another great musician and tala expert from Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Akella Mallikarjuna Sharma. I had good fortune of discussing these features with Akella ji himself. Then we have pure Sangeeta Avadhana. Though you see this aspect is only one dimension of Avadhana, full-fledged Sangeeta Avadhana has not been practiced by any of the people here in Karnataka. Even in Andhra Pradesh now, nobody is doing it. Earlier, there are 2 evidences. One is Sitaramaya and other is Sri Krishna Yachendra, both from Andhra Pradesh. They had Sangeeta Avadhanam to their credits. And in Sangeeta Avadhanam, the method adopted by Sri Sitaramaya involves teaching basic music lessons, composing a song, singing Tanavarna, singing a song of the questioner's choice, presenting an Avadhana Pallavi, means managing different talas simultaneously, and solving a simple mathematical problem, and then going with Estakshari, and then having Apasthuta Pasanga. This is what we have. And yet another person by name Sri Krishna Yachendra, he is a recent person. He has been given the title Sangeeta Geyadhara. It has been named as Sangeeta Geyadhara, includes singing a well-known classical song, handling constraints of Nishedakshari, Samasya, Dattapadi and Varnana in the lyrics. Music has lyrics. Geetam, Nrityam, Tathavadhyam, Trayam, Sangeetam Uchyate, it is said so. And composing a classical song impromptu and setting to a specific raga and tala a song, and composing a song for light music, and then again there it is also demanding setting a raga and tala, and then managing the Apasthuta Pasanga. These are some of the features. This has to be encouraged, this aspect of involving Purna and Dharana and multitasking. In Avadhana Pallavi, though it is multitasking, It's only 2. And also of the same kind. But here we have so many other features. Means his prowess in composing lyrics, tuning a new song, and then rendering a song of questioner's choice. It means his repertoire should be strong enough, rich enough, and wide enough. This way of doing, performing a Sangeeta Avadhanam is highly welcoming. It's very meritorious. Then we have Vaidya Avadhanam. Its records have not been given, but it is said Ayurvedic scholars were performing that. C.V. Subbana mentions it, and I don't know more details about that. Whatever he has written in his book, I've just taken it. And then Jyotish Avadhanam, it is said to have been performed twice. I think for Pejettaji may be much interested because his specialization is in this. One person by name Lakshmi Narayana or Lakshmana Siddhanti and another Dhulipala Arkasomayaji. Dr. Dhulipala Arkasomayaji was a teaching faculty in Tirupati Sanskrit University, and he has written a very long poem in Sanskrit by name Sītārāma-Anjaneyam, and that is in Mandakranta meter. Hundreds of Mandakranta meters have been written, and of course the theme is Ramayana. They performed it, and the components involved were Jataka, Muhurta, Vastu, Prashnatantra, Vyastakshari, Samasya Purana, Dattapadi, and Aprastuta Prasanga. This is entirely based on, all these features are based on Jyotisha itself, astronomy and astrology. Here itself I should say, even in Sāhitya Avadhanam, some specializations have been made. For example, Rallabandi Kavita Prasad, he did taking 8 components based on 8 aspects of Telugu literature. In Telugu literature, you have Prabandha Yugamu, Purana Yugamu, Vachana Kavitvamu, like that, and then Bhava Kavitvamu, something. These varieties have been entrusted to every component, and performance is being conducted. Another there is Jaya Avadhanam, using just songs like that. And then Alankara Avadhanam, 8 different Alankaras have been handled like that. These are some of the types. I have performed something like Ramayana Avadhanam, Mahabharata Avadhanam, Bhagavata Avadhanam, Kalidasa Avadhanam, and then DVG Avadhanam, Bhagavad Gita Avadhanam, Advaita Avadhanam, Shankaracharya Avadhanam, and then various Gitas, Pandava Gita, Uddhava Gita, Avadhuti Gita, Monkey Gita, there's so many Gitas. And then one well-known novelist of our times from Karnataka, Dr. S.L. Bhairappa, based on his entire novels. That's so, taking a theme and doing, these are all the same patterns of Aṣṭāvadhānams, Samasya, Dattapadi, Nishedha, and all. But the components will have the main ingredient as these themes. That's so we can have many dimensions in Aṣṭāvadhānam. And that can be multiplied, and then we can have Gunita Avadhanam and others. Then we have one type of Avadhanam based on mimicry called Dhvanyanukarana Avadhanam. It was conceived by Dr. Rallabandi Kavita Prasad and was performed by a naval mimicry artist. His name itself is Mimicry Srinivas. He uses Samasya Dhvani, Datta Dhvani, Nishedha Dhvani, Sadyo Dhvani, Ashu Dhvani, Dhvani Darshana, Dhvani Ganana, and Aprastuta Prasanga. The details for which I have no time, you can refer to book of Rallabandi Kavita Prasad. He was kind enough to send his book to me on Avadhanamu, Arambha Vikasalu. In that book you can find. And then Chitra Avadhanam, it is conceived by me and was performed by a very great artist of our times, Dr. B.K.S. Verma. And there, it involves painting 4 pictures in 4 different styles simultaneously, such as Impressionism, Cubism, Pointillism, Dadaism, Pahadi, Rajasthani, or Madhubani, or Ajanta, like that, various styles, as per the whims and fancies of questioners. They will be asking a theme and also the style. And then this proceeds in 4 rounds. After a certain level of completion, immediately has to switch over to the next one and has to go on with it. So it will happen in 4 rounds. and then painting 4 pictures, one each in a round, similar to Ashu Kavita, Ashu Chitra, and then painting based on a song. A song's import has to be brought out. It may be abstract or concrete. And also painting for rhythm. If mridangam, morching, ghatam, khanjira, such rhythm instruments are being played to the strokes, to the resonation, accordingly to the resonance, it will be painted. And also aprastuta prasanga, to any crazy question, immediately writing a cartoon-like answer. I still remember when BKS Verma was performing, aprastuta prasanga asked, what you do when you are going in rains? You are left with no umbrella, what will you do? He immediately wrote the palette itself as an umbrella and the brush itself as the handle and covered himself under that. He was under the umbrella of this. That way, very many beautiful verses, sketches were given by him in Aprastuta Prasanga. This is how, depending upon our capability, we can do. One more person by name Bommala Shrinu from Andhra, he too has performed this feat, but in a restricted sense. This is how still experimentation is going on. Newer and newer avenues have been opened and they are still being opened. However, most of these have been modeled after Sāhitya Avadhāna, which is but natural. And while designing the Natya Avadhanam in the complete sense and Chitra Avadhanam, have taken care that that specific art should be counted and its potential, its capability and limitations, they have to be exploited. Unfortunately, Shri Rallabandi Kavita Prasad's construction of mimicry Avadhanam, Vanyarakarana Avadhanam, is based on the innate capability of that particular art. This way of developing new art forms and then new art forms and structuring them in the form of Avadhanam is a wonderful challenge. Anyone can take it. But in all these things, the governing rule is very simple. Purana, Dharana, Ranjana. All these 3 are very important. Creativity, engaging retention, and also entertainment, sustained entertainment. And I need not say, emphasize more on the educative entertainment. Higher level of entertainment will always be educative, but learning without tears. As Abhinav Gupta says, Nachaite Priti Vyutpati Bhinarupe Eva Gayorapi Eka Vishayatva. Education and enjoyment, enlightenment and enjoyment are no 2 different things. By entertainment itself, we get educated. That should be the goal of an Avadhani. And Avadhanam has so much of potential to recreate our culture, to recreate the holy tradition of versification and other details in any specific art. That should be preserved. And none should think that Avadhanam means meeting the bare minimum. If Nishedakshara, Samasya Purna, Aprastuta Prasanga, Ashu Kavitva and such things are met with, then the job of Avadhani is over. It should never be thought as job. It is sport. Every moment Avadhani should be cheerful and he should bring out more things apart from that. Amita Bhashi, he should be a narrator of a very good level, so that he should bring in so many other aspects of learning, and then his performance will become richer and richer. In that way, while doing any innovation, going for any innovation, this aspect of richness should never be ignored. Then, of course, I mentioned earlier about the nature of Jain Avadhana. It's more mathematical in nature. You can add any number of elements. And here comes Dharana. As I earlier mentioned regarding the prowess of Srimati Shakuntala Devi, Ganita Avadhanam, perhaps it needs enormous memory power and calculation skill. Yet another type of Avadhanam is also popular, that is command over a work, specific work. In Andhra Pradesh, a few people have performed. In other places also we can see though not inspired directly by that, in different provinces we see different people doing it. For example, in Andhra, we have Bhagavad Gita Avadhanam. Complete control over the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Anything and everything can be asked. If the chapter number and verse number is given, they will be reciting the verse. If the verse is given, they will be identifying chapter and verse number. Something like that. One person in Karnataka was there. He used to do Bhagavad Gita Avadhanam, though I haven't heard, haven't watched. He expired long ago. In one of his Avadhanams, it was asked, what is the single letter that has been used only once in Bhagavad Gita? In Vibhuti Yoga, Jhashana, Makaraschasmi, Jha is that syllable which has been used only once in Bhagavad Gita. It means so much of command over the intricate details of a work. Bhagavad Gita is of course a shorter work as it has only 700 verses. Take Pural, Terukural. I have seen in Tamil Nadu people, wonderful. They are doing it. In Terukural, totally 2000 verses are there. Purtpas, couplets, a number, verse, chapter, verse, and then number of words in a verse, and then give a theme on this. Just recite all the verses which carry inbam, which carry the word Arul, they will give out. Way of command. I think the detail has been given in Veda Avadhanam. So much of control over that. Veda Avadhanam is much difficult than Pural Avadhanam. Like that, Vishnu Sahasranama Avadhanam has been made popular recently. One Swamiji by name Sri Kridandi Chinnajiyar of Andhra Pradesh, he has been popularizing that to the disciples, children. Children will be very much interested in such things. It will help them to recite verses, to by heart all this, and all such things are amazing when small children, little children are doing it. In this way, there are many aspects of Avadhana based on one work. Again here, it is complete dharana and no element of Purana is involved. And that dharana itself will be amazing and that will take care of Sabharanjana. But when once you saw the performance, it is over. You need not see any performance because it will be completely over. Recently in Bangalore, I think from Uttaradimath, Swamiji, the Swamiji pontiff of that, Sri Satyatmatirtha Swamiji's guidance under his patronage, several people have been doing Sriman Nyaya Sudhavadhana. Sriman Nyaya Sudha is one great work, being the commentary on Anuvyakhyana of Sri Madhvacharya, a commentary on Brahma Sutra. There, the control over the text, mastery of the text has been seen. There, more than memory, with the analytical power, how you interpret the concepts there, how the logical sequences go on, such things. It is an advanced level when compared to mere retention and mere command of memory over mere command over the text of the works like Bhagavad Gita, Tirukula, such things. Thus, we have these memory-based avadhanams. They lose their charm when once or twice we behold it, because they have no element of Purana or creativity. Creativity is what that brings in novelty at any time. As Magha said, Kshane Kshaneyan Navatam Upaiti Tadeva Rupam Ramaniyataya Prajna Navanolekha or Navanonmesha Shalini Pradibhamata, as said by Bhattatauta, earlier mentioned yesterday. I think she mentioned that. So Sahitya Avadhanam has an upper hand because of this. And then it is unpredictable also. In other Avadhanams, once command over the text means complete. Rarely he may go wrong. But in a Sahitya Avadhanam, because it is entirely new thing, new things have been created, not all Avadhanams of every Avadhani may be very good. There may be variations in result. But curiosity will always be there. Especially in Andhra Pradesh, where the tradition is very well rooted since centuries, and especially since 19th century, it has been very popular everywhere. We see evidences that the same samasya being given to various avadhanis. Nowadays, because of faster communicative skills and others, if anything is given to one avadhani, it will be circulated on WhatsApp, internet, and everything, and one and all will knowing. But earlier, if one avadhani was performing Gadwala, and if some other avadhani comes after a week or so in the same place, the same samasya is given, the earlier avadhani would have no chance to meet him and communicate, and no person would do it. In that way, the same samasya used to be handled by many avadhanis, unknowing the purnas of other avadhanis. Then you see the real comparative dimension which this art gets. Some avadhanis will perform in an exuberant manner, they come out with flying colors, while other avadhanis may fade out. This will happen in spite of any amount of accomplishment. On that day, on that moment, what an avadhani will get, what spark will be in him for that moment is indescribable. That is pratibha, and that is achintya, and that's God's grace or whatsoever. One may agree or disagree, but it is Vishwaradhina, where our Purusha Prayatna will disappear and only Daiva remains. This way of comparative studies evolved, and then we have all the verses being published. Many of the Avadhani's verses are being published. Nowadays, we have a complete recording facility of every Avadhana, of every Avadhani. Then such a comparative study can be done. This is how we have many varieties of Avadhanam, which contribute variety and beauty to the art in general. And no Sanskrit poems of past are available with us. So also Telugu verses and even Kannada verses. Apart from the definition of art and detail of art in Kannada, that too, just the name being mentioned and the names of the Avadhanis being mentioned, whether they are Aṣṭāvadhānams or śatāvadhānams or Śatāvadhānīs or Aṣṭāvadhānīs, but for that no other detail has been given. Earlier mentioned, it is from Madhabhushi Venkatacharya onwards. That means last part of 19th century. From then onwards, we have all the details of the verses connected to Avadhanams in Sāhitya Avadhanam are available. For the other types of Avadhanams, even such references and details are scanty to a great extent. With this, I open this session for discussions and question answers. Please come with your questions. Thank you.
Acharya Namamsa. तत्र काव्यवाचने एका संशयितिः अस्ति, यथा प्रक्षिप्तपाठाः भवन्ति खलु ग्रन्थेषु, तर्हि पृच्छकः तदपि तानपि प्रष्टुं शक्नोति वा? नाम
प्रक्षिप्तभागः नाम रामायणे वा महाभारते भूरिशः भवन्ति प्रक्षिप्तभागाः, न तु रघुवंशे वा कुमारसम्भवे. यद्यपि कुमारसम्भवे नवमसर्गादारभ्य 17 सर्गपर्यन्तं सम्पूर्णोऽपि भागः प्रक्षिप्तः इत्येव, सम्पूर्णं काव्यं तत् प्रक्षिप्तम् इत्येव ज्ञायते. तस्मात् तदकालदासीयमेव, तत्र नास्ति मनागपि संशयः. किञ्च कुमारसम्भवे न क्वापि प्रक्षिप्तपद्यानि भूरिशो दृश्यन्ते, रघुवंशेऽपि तथैव. मेघदूते कानिचन पद्यानि प्रक्षिप्तरूपेण दृश्यन्ते, यत्र मल्लिनाथोऽपि तद्व्यपदिश्य निरूपयति, व्याख्याति च. एवं तत्रत्र विरलतया प्रक्षिप्तपद्यानि भवन्ति. परमिदम् एकं सत्यं, पृच्छकेन काव्यवाचनसन्दर्भे रसमयानि महाकवि निबद्धानि परमरमणीयानि हृद्यानि पद्यानि एव गातव्यानि, नान्यानि. प्रक्षिप्तपद्येषु यन्मम ज्ञानं तत्र अत्यन्तं सुन्दराणि पद्यानि न सन्त्येव. यदि भवता अमृतशतकस्य प्रक्षिप्तपद्यानि दृश्यन्ते, तत्र अर्जुनवर्मदेवस्तु कटुनिन्दामेव प्रसरति. तत्र एते शिरोवाताः, एते जञ्जानिलाः शिरोवेदनाम् उत्पादयन्ति. अत्र पिशाचरूपेण प्रक्षिप्तकारेण एतानि पद्यानि प्रक्षिप्तानि सर्वं दूषयति. तथा अस्मद्व्याख्यानकाराः सर्वदा जागरूकाः असुन्दराणि पद्यानि प्रक्षिप्तानि भवन्ति चेत् यदि तत् कथ्यते पृच्छकेन तत् सत्यं तस्य मतिलाघवाय.
So next question, Amritji can ask. So after that, Bhakti Jadhav can answer. Amritji, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, was Avadhanam performed even in courts of great emperors like Samudragupta?
They have no evidence. Akbar, in front of Akbar is almost 16th century, late 16th century. But Samudragupta existed 1300 years before Akbar, and we don't see any such reference. It would have been, we don't know. But without any evidence, we can't make any such guesswork.
Yeah, even you had read the book Gatha Saptashati. Was it in Sanskrit? What is it about?
Gatha Saptashati is a Prakrit work. Maharashtriya Prakrita is the language in which it has been composed, and it is not a single author's work. It is compilation done by a great king, Śatāvadhāna or Śatāvadhāna. Of course, he belonged to the dynasty of Śatavadhana, who ruled from Paitan or Pratisthana, modern Paitan, on the banks of Godavari river. And more than 300 Prakrit poets' verses were selected there, and 700 have been compiled. And we have various editions, as I know from the edition of Jagannath Pathak, an illustrious Sanskrit poet who departed recently. He gives 300 more Prakshipta Padyas, and then we have one beautiful commentary on it by name Bhattashri, by a scholar from Jaipur by name Bhattashri Madhuranath Shastri. It has been published from Nirnay Sagar long ago. It is available in the archives. Many English scholars have come with various editions of them, but that has no connection with Avadhana. It's a marvelous collection. Avinashina Magramya Makarot Śātāvadhānams Vishuddhair Jatibhi Rattai Koshairiva Subhashitaihi. It was earlier called Gatha Kosha. And because 700 in number, it became Saptashati Saptasayi.
Bhakti Jadhav ji.
Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Any other question?
Swapnil ji has raised his hand. So, Swapnil ji, please ask. Swapnil ji is our music faculty.
Namo Namaha. Finally, today Śatāvadhānam came. Okay. It happens that there are a number of ragas which are created by which are practiced by a very small group of musicians, and not all the people know those ragas. So if a Pruchaka asks us a raga which we have not studied, or similarly if I'm talking about Marathi, all the Sanskrit meters are not used, like Anushtupa and all are not practiced in Marathi contemporary poetry or in classical poetry. So if someone gives us a vritta which is not there, or which we do not know, or the Avadhani doesn't know, how to handle that situation, or should we give a list of our ragas to the Pruchaka and then he can prescribe? Or
Of course, very nice question. I think regarding meter, a similar question was answered earlier. How to prescribe syllabus? How to prescribe a syllabi for Avadhanam? It is almost impossible. It all depends upon the capability and potential of the Avadhani. But in the way of moving towards a safe Avadhanam, the art will be suffering. The art will be drastically suffering. And so no measure to dilute the art deliberately should not happen. See, that's why sky is the limit, I always say. very many great Avadhanis from Andhra Pradesh, Tirupati Venkata Kavulu and others, they have used more than 40 meters. And next comes Subbana Śatāvadhānī, he has used nearing 40 meters, something like that. But I have used more than 350 meters. It depends upon your capability. You may have, at least what I honestly feel, it is again subjective. I feel that at least an Avadhani should be comfortable with 40 to 50 meters. Well-known meters which are established by Mahakavi. Nobody would expect you to compose in a meter called Kurari Ruta or Chanchari Kavali or Khachara Pulka. But an Avadhani will be asked, Megha Vispurjita, you compose. Or Kalahamsa. Or something like Udgata. These are well established. What we take, what are the meters which are found in at least Panchamahakavyas? Not more than 50 meters. They are seen to that extent. And even ragas also. There are many ragas. Thousands of ragas are there as per the calculations of Venkatamukhi system. We have so many. But at least some 100 to 150 ragas are essential. If not, such people should not attempt to become Avadhanis. I may be very harsh. Why you should crave, why you should cringe? This way of taking excuses and performing, nobody will force a person. Nakavitvam adharmaya vyadhaye dandanayeva. Ukavitvam param saksham gatirahur manishanaha. That's what Bhamaha says before 1300 years. Nobody said that without composing poems, a person will be penalized, will be taxed, will be cursed, will become diseased. Nothing. No such rules are there. But how come a person, if he wants, he has to do, is it not? Just by getting 35 marks, can he expect that he should be first class student? It is not. As an enthusiast, as a hobby, one person in his own or her own small circles of friends may perform. But public performance means certain qualities are needed. We all know in Hindustani, unless a person has certain level of quality in music, he will not be given any stage. That riyaz and that voice culture is all very important. The same thing holds good. If not, the art will be suffering and people will be reluctant to watch. That's why whenever I am invited by any strange group, a group which is completely alien to Sanskrit, alien to Avadhanam, I first request them, you please go to YouTube. Or if not, in the case of YouTube, when YouTube were all non-existent things, I used to say, you come and watch my performance. Even then, if you want to organize an Avadhanam, then I will come. You first see what are the difficulties in organizing an Avadhanam. I have my own proverbial statement. To perform Avadhanam is difficult, but to organize is more difficult, and to behold it is much more difficult. Avadhanam kashtam, avadhanayojanam kashtakaram, avadhana darshanam kashtatamam. That's what I say. Because they should be given proper perspective, and that's why I earnestly feel that we have no rights to dilute that. See, Chitrabandha and art, my friend, very thorough scholar in various aspects of literature and learning, a very brilliant mind, the name is Sudhir Krishnaswamy. He used to say in Padmabandha and such things, instead of both Swara and Vyanjana becoming convergent, why not you take one Vyanjana itself and do it and make more beautiful poem, more literally appealing poem. Literally appealing means from the perspective of literature, more appealing, aesthetically appealing verse. But me and Shankar used to say, no, Chitrabandha has that qualification, we should not take liberty. Even in the case of Nishadakshara and all, though the fourth line will be left for the choice of Avadhani without any restriction, though it is a tradition. I have in hundreds of my Avadhanams completed the fourth line also with Nisheda. Sometimes they don't want to have Nisheda. I would have said, you just negate a few letters so that I will not be using and completing it. If one verse in Aṣṭāvadhānams is not up to my mark, up to my satisfaction, I would come out with 2-3 verses. Means, I'm not here to boast my achievements. What I mean is, the sanctity of the art has to be preserved, because art is great and artist is a very incidental thing. He will come and go, but the art remains. The art of Avadhana, art of poesy is centuries old, millennia old. But how long our lifespan and how much is our achievement? And that's why here and all we have to question again. We have to raise the standards, nothing else. That's so I feel in case of music also. And one thing, when we are taking Sāhitya Avadhanam, we have to take as our ideal true poetry as the reference. It is Sangeeta Avadhanam, pure music as the reference. If we, amidst all constraints, amidst the situations of disturbance and others, coming up to that is very difficult. But we have to struggle. As Browning says, struggle to become Shakespeare. Even failing in the direction is a great achievement by itself. That should be our spirit.
Namaste, Guruji. My question is that are the Pritchaks a bit lenient, or like do they consider the hello? Yeah, now? Yeah, okay. So, do the Pritchakas consider the background of the Avadhani, like if it is his first time or second time, so let's be lenient on him? Or from which background does he hail? If he is North Indian, so let's not ask the questions which are kind of related to South India or the religion, like, for example, I am Jain, so let's not ask questions which are like, it might be a problem for them. So do the Pritchakas consider these kind of things, or they are like same to everything?
Of course, very nice question. Yes, Avadhanam is not a battlefield. Ultimately, it has to give a lot of entertainment with Bhajana Ranjana. An elevated sense of enjoyment and entertainment should be given. For that, this art is meant. It's meant for that. When that being the case, tooth and nail fighting is irrelevant. It is not fair. But that doesn't mean Pritchaka should be lenient and should compromise at every stage. That's why much of your questions, your means all the participant questions, will be reduced to nothing if you watch some scores of 10-15 Avadhanams of different Avadhanis. Then you'll be naturally knowing. Certainly, embarrassing questions are difficult, but Avadhanis will have their own way, because he need not compose a long essay of 50 or 60 pages, one worth of 4 lines. You see, many Avadhanis, I remember many examples, but I have no time. Very great Avadhanis, supposed to be too well known and masters in Sanskrit and Telugu, Ramakrishna Venkata Kavulu, disciples of Tirupati Venkata Kavulu, and later they fought with their own gurus. They, in one of the Śatāvadhānams, a topic was given, Brahma Swarupam, nature of Brahman. These people were adept scholars, and they have boasted themselves, Chala Parishramam Ponarchinaramu. We have gone through so much of learning, and we have practiced, and we have so much of cultivation in many Shastras. O king, you should not treat like any other Tom, Dick and Harry. Here is our erudition, like that. They have boasted several verses. Then Brahma Swarupa was asked, then what? They give answer in versified form. The import is, O king, to understand Brahma Swarupam, you have to ask a logician and not us. This is an answer, but not answer to that question. But is it not dealing with Brahma Swarupam? Yes. For example, you are a Jain. Śyatāvadhāna is a too well-known thing in Jainism. I know it is Saptavangi Nyaya and all that. If I don't know, Śyatāvadhāna Sangitam Tattvam Jaina Siddhanta Darshitam Vidyate Sarva Lokanam Chintanaya Punah Punah. This is an Ashakavitva. Have I not touched the topic, but have I done justice This way of easy escapes are too many and very many. It is all part of the trade secret. But a honest Prichaka is not meant to test the Shastrajnana of Avadhana, because it is Sāhitya Avadhana. Here Sāhitya supported by Chandas, Vyakarana, Alankara and others, they are important. And his imaginative power, Purna Samarthya, Dharana Samarthya and Sabharanjan Samarthya, Dhara, Dharana, Dhairya. These are the three. The rest are bonus. For example, in one of my Avadhanams, a question was asked about investment casting. Rigvedoktamidhi, like that I started in Śatāvadhānī. Because I'm a mechanical engineer, I know what is investment casting. That's what I told. If a Jyotisha Prashna is asked, what I will do? Vajataya could do that well. So everyone will have certain comfort zone and certain areas of prowess and erudition. Accordingly, they will do. And also, another thing is about the region and other things. Avadhani is better to have certain vague knowledge of the know-hows of so many things. That is called Lokajnana. In our book, forthcoming book, we have dealt with all these details. If you go to Kshemendra's Kavikanta Varna, he has enlisted 100 topics. He says, a poet, Shmashanaranya Darshanam, should have a close contact. She should have watched closely the activities that happen in a burial yard or a cremation ground, in a cremation place. And then Rutu Nakshatra Darshanam, something like that. And that Vyutpatti Sarvashishyata, he says. For erudition, one should become student to Kannada. I remember perhaps first and last till today, IGNCA, Southern Regional Center of IGNCA in Bangalore, when I was working there, they organized one national conference on Avadhana. And to inaugurate, a very good Avadhani, and I like him very much. I rate him as the Avadhani of Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Garikpati Narasimha Rao. He was invited. And inaugural session, he came to the dais, and also he requested other Avadhanis who were present to come with extempore verses on Saraswati. Including me, many other Avadhanis, we recited our verses, Ashu verses. Then he too recited his verse. And then when he came down, he told, I had seen the photograph of Saraswati, the painting of Saraswati rested on a stool that was supported by bricks. And so he used that theme itself. Itukalapai nilchina ava sharada chudan, like that a verse. Oh Saraswati, you had no support apart from the bricks. On that you are standing. Alas, what a plight is yours. Avadhana Saraswati is so shaky now, and she has to be properly supported. That's so. That is Samya Spurti and Parishilana. Observation is very, very important. This is how we have to connect with that. Any other question?
Can I add something that just to remember that in one Śatāvadhānam of Ganesh ji, someone had asked the last day of Jesus Christ for Ashukavita.
Yeah,
and Ganesh ji, Dattapadi.
Last Dattapadi.
And Ganesh ji had explained for I think 10 to 15 minutes.
I used some of the words, Hebrew words, Gabbata and others. That is by the work of Govind Pai, national poet Govind Pai. I recited few lines and connected to that.
So
next
now,
question.
Anagha ji had raised her hand. So after that, Bhakti ji can ask.
Namaste Guruji. Namaste Guruji.
You please call me by name. I'm not at all a guru. I'm never even a Guruji. So,
no, but you are such a knowledgeable person. I mean, I can't stop myself calling you Guruji. Okay, anyways, any such tradition of, similar tradition of education and entertainment outside India, maybe in other culture, or maybe, is it a kind of acculturation outside India available or seen in other countries?
in different countries. The same question was asked earlier.
I mean, I'm not interested in countries, but maybe in some other cultures.
A tradition of Avadhanam as seen in different cultures or in different countries. Is that the question?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think another participant had asked it depending on the languages of preference or languages of practice, and there is no tradition as such. There are some sporadic references to certain art forms in terms of spoken word poetry, or different ways of reciting memory feats or practiced poetry, which are presented in an entertaining manner. But there is no tradition as such. And even those formats do not have the complexity or as seen in Avadhanam.
Okay, thank you.
Bhakti ji, please unmute yourself.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Acharyabhyo namaha. It is really enlightening to listen to your answers, sir. I had two questions to be asked. Yesterday, there was a reference made to Uddanda Shatpadi. Can a verse be discussed from it? And second question mine is that, sir, you being a polyglot, I would like to ask, what is the methodology of grasping a language, like too many languages, and also assimilating them? So could you please throw light on that?
Well, Uddanda Shatpadi is similar to Vardhaka Shatpadi. By any chance, if you know Vardhaka Shatpadi, it will be easy to connect. It is a Kannada meter. It is based on Matric measure. It is Matra Jati meter. Shatpadi, as the name goes, it has 6 lines. And the third and sixth lines, they are longer. First, second, fourth and fifth lines are shorter. But in reality, it is Chatushpadi. First and second, fourth and fifth, they become one line each. And totally, third line will be really second line, and sixth line will be really fourth line. This is how Shatpadi will become a Chatushpadi also. And in Vardhaka Shatpadi, every Gana will have 5 matras. Thus, in the first, second, fourth, and fifth lines, you will be having 4 Ganas of 5 matras each. Totally 20 matras divided into 4 Ganas, 5 into 4, 20. Well, in sixth and third line, it will be 6 Ganas of 5 matras each and a Guru. Totally 32 in these two. But in Uddanda Shatpadi, the number of matras are same, but the Ganas are divided different way. Instead of 5 matras per Gana, 4 matras per Gana. That's how in first, second, fourth and fifth lines, 5 Ganas of 4 matras are there. Naturally, for a cycle, you should have even number of Ganas. Here we have odd number of Ganas in Uddanda Shatpadi, and that's why it will be very jarring and difficult to retain. And that's how it will be challenging thing. And added to that, verbal difficulty. Once I was asked to be Pritchaka in Jain Muni Rajkaranji's Avadhanam, and he was such a noble soul. He wanted me to perform, and then he watched and blessed me, and he too wanted me to be a Pritchaka for Eka Sandhi Grahana. I thought any verse will do, and I composed a difficult verse in Sraddhara meter. He had to listen to that 12 times, and then only he could hardly repeat the first line. Means Ekasandha Grahana will be difficult when the meter and the structure and the verbal pattern, when they are very critical, when they are very challenging, it will be difficult. This is happening in case of Uddanda Shatpadi. I shall recite a verse from that. In the meanwhile, you asked about the other question. Polyglot. Of course, here, various languages, they belong to different families of languages. For example, though South Indian languages are apparently different in the modern phase of them, as you go earlier, as we go backwards, in the roots, you have so much of affinity. For example, one line from Kural, I shall recite from Tamil. Kulal ginithu yaal ginithu enbar makkal malalai keladavar. Simple Kurpa. People who say that flute is melodious and veena is melodious, they have heard to the blabberings of children. Very sweet, though ununderstandable, incorrigible. Avyakta varna ramaniya vachah pravritti, like that Kalidasa says. This is Avyakta varna ramaniya. This Tamil is very close to Halaganada. I shall translate it into Halaganada, old Kannada, classical Kannada. Kulal inidu yaal inidu enbar makkala todalam keladar. Malalai keladavat will become todalam keladavat. Just one variation. Like that, Telugu and Kannada has a lot of affinity. Tamil and Malayalam, earlier older Malayalam, much closer to Tamil than now. And Sanskrit and Prakrit. Pali is very close to Sanskrit when compared to other Prakrits. And we have Samasamskrita. They look alike. They look alike in that sense. Same words in Sanskrit and same words in other varieties of Prakrit can be identified. Like that, it all belongs to different groups. If you know Greek, it will not be much difficult to understand Latin. And if you know Latin, it will not be difficult to understand older Italian. Like that, if you know Spanish, it will not be much difficult to connect with Portuguese. This is how the languages get connected. And hence, we should hold on classical languages. In Indian languages, most of the languages, for example, I think there is no exception, are influenced by Sanskrit, or they are originated from Sanskrit. And because of that, Sanskrit and Prakrit will have a lot of fold in learning other languages. And to what extent, with which interest we learn, it is all dependent. I think with this, I shall recite one verse. Ganesh Charite. Before that, I shall read a simple Vartak Shatpadi and show how the difference is. Shripatige Sobaganudupatige Shantiyanu Vanipatige Chaturyamam Divaspatige Pratapamam Purapatige Bhogamam Ratipatige Muluka Vavarisuva Rupam Savitpatige Gambhirate Yanutvaha Patige Tejamam Kotta Gurumurti Pampapati Virupaksha Nemadishta Siddhiyam Malke Santoshadinda. This is the invocative verse of Raghavanka's another poem. It is from Veeresh Charite now. This is an Uddalta Shatpadi. Shripati Vani Pati Surapati Dinapati Tarapati Modala Dasamastava Maranata Neniti Papa Datvaya Nakshana Nadvaya Nanupama Natishaya Rupam Shivanu Kopa Topade Dakshat Bharavit Gamsala Apade Vyedeshananu Bhavisita Gurupam Papura Darasa Piropa Shampur Temagi Gishtar Thasiddhiyanu hurdles, because it is not easily coming to Chaturashra Tala with the squaring up of things, and that is the difficulty. I think we have left it no time. Any other question? One question, I think. Short question. If not, we shall conclude.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.